This is part 2 of a 2 video series. Be sure to check out part 1, as there is more information and it will help you better understand this video. Now on to today's video.
Hello and welcome back to another video of the Brainy Heart. Today we'll be talking about the major landmarks in our brain.
Let's start off by looking at the brain from this angle.
So first off, we know that this is the brainstem. We also know that this is the cerebellum. And the first landmark that I want to talk about is the paracentral lobule. So the paracentral lobule can be found right here. So the paracentral lobule is where the postcentral gyrus and the precentral gyrus kind of come over the lateral surface onto the medial aspect. And medial means when the brain is cut down the middle. So this is the view that you're looking at. So this is the medial view of the left hemisphere. That's the first major landmark that I wanted to talk about, which was the paracentral lobule. And the second major landmark is this sulcus right here. It's called the perioccipital sulcus. So the main goal of this is to separate the occipital lobe from the parietal lobe. If we go back to the lateral view, there is not really a specific boundary for between the parietal lobe and the occipital lobe, and that's the reason there's the perioccipital sulcus. Now back to the medial view. And the third major landmark that can be found here is the corpus callosum, which is this right here. So the corpus callosum is a white matter, and it's a big fiber tract, and the fiber matter in the corpus callosum is how your right hand knows what your left hand is doing. And this fiber connects all the neurons from one hemisphere to the other. So basically, if you didn't already know this, your left hemisphere controls your right hand and your right hemisphere controls your left hand, which is pretty crazy. In order for your left hand to know what the right hand is doing, the corpus callosum is there, and it helps neurons from one hemisphere to the other hemisphere collaborate, basically. And right under that is the diencephalon. The diencephalon is gray matter under the corpus callosum, and the diencephalon acts as a primary relay and processing center for sensory information, which, like I said, is the input. And the diencephalon also contains the thalamus and the hypothalamus. So the thalamus is a sensory gateway. The sensations come here before it goes to any part of the brain. And the hypothalamus is a very important regulatory center when it comes to metabolism and basic drives, survival drives, like to get a drink of water or to eat. So that's basically all the major landmarks that can be found when you're looking at the brain from a medial view. Again, medial view is when you cut the brain down the middle and you look at it. That's basically medial view. So let's move on to one final view of the brain and look at some more landmarks in that view. So here we have the last and final view that we're going to look at. And this might look very familiar to you because this is the exact same view we looked at just before. But this time, there is no brainstem, no cerebellum, and no diencephalon in this picture, because this would be the corpus callosum, and then approximately the diencephalon would be somewhere here. And yeah, so this is the medial view without the brainstem, cerebellum, and diencephalon. So let's find some landmarks from this view. So the first landmark that I want to talk about is the cingulate sulcus, which is somewhat around right here. So it covers the corpus callosum, and this blue area is the cingulate gyrus, which is involved in processing emotions and behavioral regulations, and helps regulate autonomic motor functions. And like I said before, this is the corpus callosum. And this line right here is the collateral sulcus. It basically acts as a border between the temporal lobe and another lobe that I will not reveal just yet. I want you guys to figure it out by yourself before I tell it to you. And this part right here and everything within is the parahippocampal gyrus. And it is gray matter, and it plays an important role in memory encoding and retrieval. And if you draw a imaginary line between these, it becomes a fully enclosed thing. And this lobe is a internal lobe, and it is the limbic lobe. So this collateral sulcus is basically a border between the temporal and the limbic lobe. So there you have it. That's basically all the major landmarks that you can find in the brain.
Even though there are a ton more.
I hope you enjoyed this video and learned from it. And I'm always open to comments, questions, suggestions, etc. Also, check out my blog at brainyhearts.wordpress.com. This is the Brainy Heart signing off. I'll catch you later in the next video.